Yeah, you are welcome back to the Aposa blog, uh, the Pan Africa blog, and the defense line of Africa. Uh, First of all, let me say this is a blogging station that stands for the defense and for the free thinking of Africa. Thinking, just a moment, please. Thinking free also means to reason very well before doing anything we want to do. Uh, you know, both of those of you who has been with me on this blog, we understand what this FOSA blog stands for. We stand for the truth. We stand for not sugarcoating. No matter what happened, we always say the truth here. And it's very, very important to say the truth so that we learn from our mistakes. And today, we are going to be featuring one of our sons who know the meaning of independence, and that is Mr. Late President Mugabe of Zimbabwe. But before we go in there, I would like to say this because most of our youth of nowadays, most of our president doesn't know what really independence means. Because I can see the movement that is going on in Africa as of now. Now we want to separate ourselves from the Western imperialism, and we are moving into Russia and the China imperialism. I don't know how that makes sense. If that is the fact. Does it make sense? Although people are saying Russia and China didn't enslave us, but they didn't also free us. They didn't help us to free ourselves from slavery or to free our brothers and sisters that were enslaved. None of them came to our rescue. They only came to us when the fight was already done. The struggle was already won before they came to us. And now they are saying because of our mineral resources and our oil, everything, that now they are our friends and they want to be our friend. Actually, they are not our friend. They are fighting their own fights, and we shouldn't involve ourselves in this fight. When I look at all the African presidents, as I'm talking to you now, it's like moving from one slavery to the other, borrowing a huge amount of money from the Chinese. And now we are doing the same thing with the Russia. They are giving us something, and we are laughing, and we are jumping, and we didn't understand. We don't understand what is happening to us because we don't have the brain to think as we are supposed to be thinking. You see, this is not just only by our presidents and others. We have the youth who are supposed to be free thinkers, critical thinkers, who are not doing this. And this is a disgrace to all African youth, to say the fact, like it or not, that is a problem. So let's hear this from our one of our great sons, you know, one of our great sons who understand the meaning of independence and why we are not independent today. So let's just take a look at this. So let's take a look and see. So this is one of our sons, Robert Mugabe on racism. So sorry for
The blacks go to Harlem when they're in New York, you shed tears. Today, there is no education for all, no health for all. Blacks in the streets. And nobody seems to talk about it. But they instead still want to talk about us. They are everywhere in Africa, if not physically, but through NGOs, through spies, through pretenders who come to us and say they are here in Africa to assist us. Even in groups.
Yeah. Let's analyze this a little bit. When our late son, Robert Mugabe, was talking about it, we know exactly what these people are doing to us. We know exactly why the Americans, the Europeans, they are in Africa. Likewise, the Chinese and the Russians. The Russians are not just new in Africa, because we know them during the time of Congo. We know what they did in Congo and how they also helped to sabotage the rocket launch in Congo under Mobutu Sese Seko. This should have been the first rocket launch in Africa to take us to space. This was deliberately sabotaged by the Westerns and the Russians, because we were then a threat. We were becoming a threat to them. So Africa was rising up, and they come together, they combine together to destabilize Africa, to reduce Africa again to nonsense. I can tell you this, during Nigeria, the rising of Nigeria, when Nigeria was rising, also a world power, although Nigeria is not a world power today, but we were on our way there. The people who actually blocked our way and didn't allow us to rise, they were not just the Westerners. The Chinese was among these people, the Russians was among these people, and we, the black people, doesn't really understand what we are doing to ourselves. When we jump from one tree to the other without having a feather or without having anything to fly, it's going to be very, very difficult for us. Because this is exactly what they are expecting from us. The Russians know exactly when they give us sugar, we will follow them. The Chinese, exactly the same thing. When they give us sugar, we will follow them. And this is exactly what they're doing to us. When they are telling us the Western you are followers, they are bad people, they are the people who enslave you, but the Chinese never wake up one day to help any Africa to free himself from slavery. Likewise, the Russians, they never stand up one day to rescue us from slavery, and they are still there looking. In the case of Libya, I don't know if people understand what really went on in Libya. Libya was a job divided between the West and the Russians. The West took over the offensive of the information, while the Russians was doing reconnaissance and all that. Trying to divide the oil of Libya. This is exactly what happened today. And this is exactly what they have been doing to us. You see, when there's a conflict in Africa, anytime there's a conflict, we have the side that is being sided by the Russians and the Chinese. And at the same time, we also have another side sided by the Westerners. So it's like working together to make sure Africa doesn't develop. And this is what we should be talking about. Not just saying this is bad, this is good. None of them is good for Africa. Africa needs himself, needs his brain. Because when we stand today, then we will stand for all the black people in the whole world. Because it's not only Africa that black people are living in. You talk of Colombia, you talk of Haiti, you talk of Cuba, you talk of Jamaica, you talk of Barbados, you talk of Honduras, you talk United States of America. We Africa, we the youth of nowadays, we are educated enough. In Western education, traditional education, to start standing up for what we believe in. What we believe in is freedom. Freedom, independent, to think for ourselves, to know what is good for us and what is bad for us. And I'm not saying everything we do nowadays is bad, but we don't have our brain to think. We have our brain to follow people we are not supposed to be following. We have our brain today to follow bad friends who are not really our friends, pretending to be our friends. This is the time to start waking up. So let's listen again to our our brother Mugabe. So continue, sir.
Armed groups on some of our territories. What help is coming from them? Regime change. We are supposed to be free and independent, Mr. Ban Ki-moon. Supposed to be free, the 54 countries. We come to the United Nations, it's ceremonial. Every year, September, we are there. We pay lots of money to go there. And the General Assembly, we make speeches, we go back home, year in, year out. But the bosses in the Security Council say, you shall never have the powers that we have as permanent members. And we have asked and asked and asked, and asked and asked, reform the Security Council.
So, yeah, let me continue. You see, this is long time ago, long time ago, and I can assure you, nothing changed. Nothing changed, and Africa doesn't have a voice. Sometimes we have the chairmanship of the United Nations, and sometimes our son will be the Secretary General to the United Nations. But in Africa, in the situation of Africa, nothing really changed. And this is where we are losing it. We are losing it because we are not calling for the reform of the UNO, the United Nations. You know, and as far as we are not doing that, because Africa is one of the most, or the black people can tell you, have the majority of the world population today. You know, but we are being treated like minority. We don't have a voice. This is where we should be standing for ourselves instead of hiding behind Russia, hiding behind China. So this is disgusting to see how our leaders, when they are talking about China, they be talking about China as if it's their father. When they are talking about Russia, they are talking about Russia as if Russia is their mother. I don't understand. I don't understand Africans. That is the fact, because we don't have the brain of independence. If we have the brain of independence, we should be standing up to say, no, we are Africa. We are home who we are. We are home who we want to be, not what the Russians want us to be, not what the Chinese want us to be. You see, when somebody is feeding you, you have no choice rather to obey him, because once he stops feeding you, then you lose everything. This is what is happening today. The Westerns are feeding us, the Russians are feeding us, the Chinese are feeding us. So how can we choose for ourselves when these people are feeding us? So it is time for Africa. Let us come out from our cave. That's our thinking is hiding in our brain. Let us come in out there and do something for ourselves, stand for ourselves. You see, in case of Nigeria today, people are crying because of the subsidies of removed from the fuel prices, from the petrol and all that. But do you understand that till this year, Nigeria never had a refinery produce to produce petroleum for himself? Everything came from United Kingdom, you know, and that is unbelievable to see Africa cannot think for itself. Africa cannot produce petrol for himself. We are not we are not independent. We are dependent on everything, technically, physically, military, in terms of military defense. You know, that is insulting. Very, very insulting. We cannot even defend ourselves if anything happens. So, calling on all Africans, youth, from now, we saw what our forefathers did. Some of them were great people, and some of them were fake leaders who were brainwashed to do the will of the Westerners or the Russians. Because this block station has we emphasize on so many issues, you know, because when the Russians pity us too much, they never stand up one day to say, no, Westerners stop. But they were also looking for a way to take their own out of Africa. Likewise, what the Chinese are doing today. They are giving our leaders loan that they can never pay back in their lives. They never have any program what the loan should be used for, how they are going to be used. So Africa, please wake up and take your stand. Take your stand and use your brain to defend the land of Africa. So thank you very much. And I'm going to stop here for today. I'll be coming back very soon. So thank you. And I hope you enjoy my broadcast. So, sorry.